Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today for NBA Fashion Week 1991. This is a look at the card backs of 1991-92 SkyBox and looking at the fashion choices that various NBA players made. This is pretty much all of the cases where NBA players chose something specific for a photo shoot, or in rare occasions, just a casual shot where they've definitely dressed up. And it's kind of fun to look at fashion at the time. That's really kind of what this kind of boils down to. And there's really no better place to start than with Dennis Scott, where he's got a, I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like he's wearing a long sleeve shirt and has a vest over it. Nike vest, interestingly, but what's weird is that the vest doesn't look like it's supposed to be under a jacket. I really don't get the idea unless this is a combination, like a one-piece outfit where it's a vest with long sleeves, like it's a single shirt with both going on. That would make more sense for the vest itself, but there were some weird fashion choices at this time where people were experimenting. Backwards clothes was one thing that was going on. There was some strange concepts in the idea of doing a combination under vest with a long sleeve shirt in this way, where you're supposed to see that vest, just doesn't really make sense. So I don't know what Dennis is going on with here, but I gotta admit, if you've ever seen fashion on a runway, you know high-end fashion is not about looking good. It's about looking different. And that certainly is the case here. So unless I'm missing something, this is a bold attempt at something. I don't know where he was going with it, but I kind of want to return to being grounded. So let's move on to Terry Porter and get very, very grounded. This is just a straight classic sweater. This just screams home with family at the holidays. I mean, this is almost a dad sweater in a way. It's one where I look and I love how it really brings him down to earth. I mean, it really does. I look at this and he feels like just a normal guy, not one of the stars of a team playing for an NBA championship, just very recently. So again, it is all about how this guy has just really returned to earth. And I love that quirky middle-aged dad kind of a vibe that it has. Is it a great fashion choice? No, absolutely not. But it really does endear me to him. But since we're here down at the bottom, we've got to address a very bold choice, which is with Dominique Wilkins. Now, if you're going to have bold clothes, it really helps to be a superstar, because if you're a superstar, you can't really get a lot of complaints about your fashion choice. And Nick is definitely a superstar. He has earned the right to wear a red tuxedo jacket. Now, at this time, bright, loud colors were very common. I've never understood dress jackets like this that are, bright red, bright yellow. It's bold. I mean, a black jacket, of course, is very traditional. A white jacket that's normally bold. But to go with a red dinner jacket like this is the kind of thing that the staff wears, not the guests. And so when I look at it, I go, okay, yeah, I know, I get the time. Yeah, I get the time. I can't forgive it, but then again, who am I to criticize Dominique Wilkins? That's kind of where I stand with this. It is bold, it is fashionable, but it doesn't age well. It doesn't quiet down. It's just as loud now as it was then, but yeah, it's why don't we move on? That's a little much. And where we're moving on to is about the equal opposite. Bo Kimble with about the most grounded clothes that you're going to find on this entire list, simply because it's basically just a basic warm-up suit. I mean, that's really all there is to it. And yet there's a lot going on with this. I'm pretty sure that it is a single jacket where they just at the elbows they change from one kind of fabric to another. I think that's what's going on, that he's not wearing something underneath. The two-tone or the two fabric approach was something that was pretty common. And while this particular outfit I don't remember seeing specifically, it does. When I look at it, I go, dude, that looks like fashion in the early 90s. It just absolutely does. The bright colors that they have, where the bright colors show up, the black as a contrast, the idea of throwing them both onto the same outfit is, It's a lot, but it's, for me, when I look at this, the reason I have it above the other three that we've looked at is because it just pulls me back to the time. I've actually thought about doing a video where we're just looking at Zuba clothes on cards. I'm pretty sure I would lose a lot of subscribers if I do that, so I'm going to hesitate on doing that for a while more. But at the same time, I would like to do a video just talking about Zuba in the NFL because it is an indelible part of the NFL at the time. But it is all about being super loud. Now, Zuba is trashy and classy at the same time. This, to me, is just fashion at the time, and so I give Bo Kimble credit for the fact that he's showing off the time, but it's not great, certainly not great. So when we move on to Kendall Gill, now we're moving into the area of, okay, they're actually dressed well. Now with Kendall, this is a good choice of a shirt, I have to say. The print is kind of loud, it's very busy, but when I say it's loud, it's not screaming out. It's loud in a subtle way. So the shirt works really well as just kind of a nice general shirt. It is kind of strange that this is the print that he chose because while it is a good print, the busyness of the shirt is a little bit beyond what we're used to seeing higher end athletes showing off when they care to dress well. It looks kind of like the kind of thing that he chose as opposed to she chose. It's kind of got that vibe to it, which I think is pretty fun, but at the same time, Kendall Gill was a good looking guy and he could make anything look good. And it's almost like he's showing off that, yeah, he can pull this shirt off, which, okay, I give him credit. He could pull the shirt off. That's exactly what happened here. But moving on to Tyrone Corbin, now we're into something really interesting because this is not a good jacket and this is really not a good shirt. And the combination of the two is, tan on tan. This is a train wreck. And yet that's the thing. It actually works as a train wreck. Really weird. Now the shirt is really busy with a very bold pattern on it. It's not the kind of thing that screams at the top of its lungs because, it's tan and beige and brown and those are the colors. But the print itself is pretty bold, and yet the jacket, which is just a light brown jacket, it does a really good job of countering that to bring the two together to be a really nice formal outfit that's not great, but it's not lousy. It's the kind of thing where you've put on all of the clothes that you normally show off, and you want to put on something that's different. That's all you want to do. Something that doesn't stand out, but it does have a different feel to it. And so you go to the back of the closet and this is stuffed back there and you go, yeah, I can do this. And you just do it every once in a while. You turn to it as that old standard that if you want something that's going to be reliable, it does its job, doesn't ask too much, you just need a little something on the side, that's what you need. That's what this jacket does. And if I was to figure out a basketball player who really kind of fit that, somebody who doesn't really give you too much, but gives you just enough where you need it, when you need it, kind of a role player off on the side. This to me, if I was to describe this as a basketball player, it would almost be like Tyrone Corbin. This to me seems like a Tyrone Corbin suit. That's what I'm going with. So I think, props to him for pulling it off. I think it's a good enough choice and it's very distinctive. This is not something that you're going to see very many people rocking, but for him, it fits. But now we're going to be moving into actual high fashion. Horace Grant is our first stop, and with Horace Grant, he has really nice slacks and he has a nice sweater, but the sweater also has a very, very bold print up at the top. And I love the fact that he's posing next to his Mercedes. I think that's really cool. Now, when I look at the actual outfit that he's wearing, that he's sporting, here in this fashion shot is basically what it is. It's a kind of a conflicting outfit because it is very elegant and it's very bold and there's a lot going on. There's a flashiness as well as an elegance all at the same time. It's the kind of thing you could see somebody with, say, a tricked out Mercedes wearing, which is appropriate to say when you consider what he's sitting next to. In this case, this is a guy who has dressed well and he has an accessory to go with it to make the whole thing get pulled together. I think that it works well in the setting that we have. This is it's like a fashion shoot That's the way this one comes together. Now, once he steps away from the Mercedes, I don't think it's going to work too well. But for this, I think it does work well. Now with Brad Daugherty, here we have the superstar of the most bland team to ever contend for a championship. And he has a really, really nice understated shirt. With Kendall Gill, the shirt that he had was more like a sofa pattern. In this case, this is a very elegant, well-built, busy, but very understated outfit. The shirt itself just has a really great quality. It's not doily-esque, it's not like an Afghan, it's not anything like that. It's a really good print. When I look at this, I think about around this time there was a really big tradition of African prints that was very popular late 80s into the early 90s. This is not an African print at all, but it has kind of the spirit of it without the communication of it. It just kind of it fits kind of into that general space of fashion. I think it looks great. This is a case of a guy who needs to look good, and he knew exactly how to look good. But if you want to get away from understated and you want to rock something that really makes a statement, and I mean really makes a statement, whoa, okay, Bernard, that is a bold choice. Like I said with Dominique Wilkins, you got to be a superstar to rock something big. And Bernard King here has, let's just say, he is really showing off the fact that he is awesome and nobody can compete with him. Because this shirt, it's not just loud, I think it's eating him. It seems to be devouring him. I look at this shirt and I think that fits in a musical starring Rick Moranis. It really does have a bold quality. It's almost like there's a tongue inside, or maybe that's an iris. I'm not sure what's going on. All I know is you got to have some balls to rock this, and you got to be somebody special to pull it off. And I think that in both cases, he has absolutely succeeded. I love this jacket, I love this outfit, and I could be nowhere near it. Not only would I not touch it, if this entered the room, I would leave, because I'm pretty sure that there would be people who would be casualties from this shirt. I'm sure that that's going to happen. But yeah, marks to him for the attempt to pull it off, and more than that, for actually pulling it off. But he wasn't in the New York market. And if you're going to be a superstar in the New York market, you can't go this way. You've got to really own your New York presence. And that's what Patrick Ewing does. Ewing pulls off a really nice, wonderful, formal, straight up GQ look. This is not the kind of thing you live in. No, that is not what this is about. This is about showing off that, hey, I look good to look good. The gold chain really sells it all. It makes everything really come together. This is for nights on the town in New York City, and it's not for anything else. You don't wear this in Atlanta. You don't wear this in Washington. This is straight up New York City. But you don't have to be a superstar to be able to rock high fashion. And Jim here perfectly illustrates that. So that you know, this is Jim who? Jim Les? Jim Peterson? It's one of those minor guys. Jim Peterson is actually the person wearing this. You wouldn't know, because Jim Peterson is that guy who every year you go, wait, what team is he playing on? I mean, the fact he really rocks this and looks great. He did not dress himself this morning. That's very clear. But what's really fascinating is you look at this and you go, that can't be Jim Peterson. That's got to be Jim somebody else. I mean, the one thing that I give him credit for is, look, if you're going to be spending your career sitting on the bench, you should look good. And he's got that down. So there is that. But as we're going to the final two, here with the second to the top is Charles Barkley, who this is just a candid shot, probably at a game, so he was probably injured at the time. And what's great about this is that this is a casual shot. He's not there to be photographed. Now, he would one day be on TV, and this looks like somebody who is prepared for being on TV, because that's kind of how things worked here in this shot. But he's not. This is his casual outfit. Now, he has a phenomenal story, a really funny story about when he came into the NBA, Moses Malone helping him to learn how to no longer look like a college player, dress like a pro. He clearly took that message to heart. And so here we've got him looking just great. This is I'm going to be out in public, but I'm not here to show myself off kind of a look, which is pretty good. This guy knows how to present himself in a professional setting. But for me, for my money, the best shot of all of these, the best outfit selection combination goes with Joe Dumars, which ironically I think was the case in the previous year too. And the thing here is that he is dressed down versus most of the people who have been on this list. And yet that's what makes it work so well. He's not overly dressed. He looks like this is just what he wears casually. This is just what he would normally wear around the house, and he just happened to be photographed. That's GQ kind of at its best. The whole idea of this is how we live. He has a little bit of a gold chain on there, meaning there's not much of the gold chain that's showing, but there's a little bit so you can see that, yeah, he is kind of high fashion. He's got an outfit that the shirt itself, the sweater, it doesn't even have any buttons. This is a pullover. So it really does give that feeling of the casual. And yet at the same time, the guy knows how to dress. He knows how to present himself really well. You feel like, unlike Jim Peterson, who you figure somebody probably dressed him, in this case, no, this is what he selected. He knew what he wanted to wear. This is his choice. He understands fashion. And I look at this and I go, I could wear that. One of the few things on this entire list I would feel comfortable wearing. Now, I would feel comfortable wearing this on special occasions, not casually, but I feel like I could... See, for me, I don't like dressing up in really fancy clothes because when I do that, I feel constricted and I feel like I have to present myself, etc. I look at this and I go, I could feel like myself in this clothing. And could I look that good? Sure, we'll just go with that. But otherwise, yeah, this to me is where everything really came together at its best. There are better fashion choices, but to me, I like this one the best. So that is what I've got for NBA Fashion Week 1991 edition. I don't remember that 1992 had much of this. I'll have to look at the cards and figure out if there was much going on, because it is kind of fun to look at the fashion choices over the years. And it's also fun to look at the basketball players because they tended to care about fashion a lot more than the other three sports. But yeah, I hope that I'm able to do it. If not, this is the close of the NBA Fashion Weeks, so we'll see about that. But thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, do so. Check out my other videos. I've already got the 1990 version of this, if you want to check that out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.